pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May you be seated. Okay, right now, I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce your board to you. My name is Ed Van Ness. I'm the current president of SCHOA. Greg Bradley, he's our vice president. Followed by John Turco, our treasurer. Lee Reeves, our secretary. We have Emily Daggett, Sandy Crawford, John DeWort, Alan Lineski, and one of our members is absent due to a family emergency, so Carla West. At this time, I'd like to take and introduce our general manager. She does an excellent job. She's in charge of most of our, she is in charge of everything we do. I'm just, kind of leader of the board. We have a coalition together, so Lisa, if you want to come up and take over.
Well, good morning and Happy New Year, everybody. I'm glad to have you here. I'm going to see if I can put my little note for 1 second here. Also, I want to introduce to you the other part of our leadership team with SCHOA, and it's Christine Schmitz. She's our compliance manager, and she's going to talk to you about compliance in just a little bit. And then we have Beth Lucas, who oversees our marketing department, and she's also going to talk to you about our marketing department in just a minute, okay? We had advertised that Captain Campbell was going to be here today, but unfortunately he sends his regrets that something came up very unexpected, and so he's not going to be able to be here today. So watch for future events. I would love to introduce you guys to him. He's a fantastic captain for our Maricopa County Sheriff's Department, District 3. He's going to serve us very well. I am always excited to share with our community the things that SCHOA is doing to serve our community. So hopefully when you leave here, you're going to be, I hope you're like, wow, they really do a lot for our community, and it's unrecognized at how much we actually do. And I say unrecognized, I just say by the entire community. I don't think they understand the value of our HOA. The presentation today is going to include an overview of what SCHOA has accomplished in 2025 and some of our goals for 2026. And then if questions come to mind, just so you know, our entire staff is here today, and our entire board, minus Carla, is here to answer your questions once we conclude this meeting. We're not going to take questions from the floor. That's why we have everybody here to answer whatever questions you have, all right? And then also, everybody should have got a little red ticket when you came in. We've got some great door prizes at the end. And of course, you do have to be present to win, because we didn't take your name with your number, right? So that was one way to make sure that you're here if you want to win that Laughlin trip. All right. So, a couple things here. So I don't know, how many people are new to Sun City? So we have like one. Way to go! Oh, we're excited to have you. Well, so for some of you might not know that SCHOA was originally called the Sun City Civic Association, and we played a key role in developing Sun City as we know it today. So one of the things that SCHOA did is we were responsible for the installation of the first stoplight that is at 107th and Grand. We also provided seed money for organizations such as Sunshine Service and the Posse, which are phenomenal organizations in our community. We were incorporated in 1963, and we've been an advocate for our community for 63 years. The mission of SCHOA is to preserve Sun City property values through the fair and consistent application of the CC&Rs. The organization is structured in this way. We have 9 board of directors. They're elected by the members. We have a general manager, a compliance staff, and a marketing staff. And so I'm going to take a minute and introduce you to our staff. So compliance, we have the tables back there. So our compliance team is here. We've got Christine, the leader of the pack there, Sylvia Mullen, Larry Batson, and Kevin Hall. Just so you know, we are hiring a compliance officer, so if anybody's interested or you know somebody, you can pick up, I think, a resume at the back counter, or not a resume. Yeah, we're going to do your resume for you, so you can pick that up. No, we have a job description, so if you want to pick that up, you can take a look at it. And then we are also going to, that's to replace somebody that recently left. We're also going to be increasing that staff by 1 staff member this year, and you'll see why as we progress on. Our marketing department is led by Beth Lucas, and Lynn Harrington is here. She's our longest employee, serving employee, and I'm catching up. Well, I don't know if I'll be able to catch up, but she is the longest serving employee that we've had. Dan Anderson is our newest. He just started yesterday. So he's in charge of our business partner program. And then Shelley McBride is in charge of our membership. And then Gail Nelson is my assistant, and she also does a lot of stuff with the marketing department. So we have a really great staff. When we're fully staffed, we have 11 people on staff. One of the things I always like to talk to people about, because one of the things when I became the GM about 3 years ago, I really feel like education is important to our community, educating them on the difference between SCHOA and the rec center. Because so many people think that the rec center is your HOA, right? Because a lot of people move in from other communities where your annual assessments, your mandatory assessments, encompass your activities, right? Encompass if there's a pool, if there's, I don't know, pickleball courts or whatever, all that is included in your HOA. Here, that's totally different, right? So your mandatory assessment of $680 now this year, and when you move in, the PIF and the SIF that you pay, that all goes to the rec center to maintain these buildings, the golf courses, all the clubs, anything that's recreational, that's what that money goes to. And that's all mandatory, you have to pay that. So, SCHOA, we are not we're mandatory that you have to follow the CCNRs, you have to abide by those, and you agree to those when you moved in. But our members, we have a membership fee of $25 a year, and it's voluntary. And people scratch their heads because I don't know why they did it that way either, right? But that's the way it is. So just so you understand the difference, and the rec center gives us none of that money. None of those assessments that you pay the rec center comes to SCHOA, all right? So this kind of gives you an overview of that, right? So I look at SCHOA as protection. We protect the community. We help protect your property values. We protect the age overlay, right? We watch out for legislation, which we're going to talk about that in a little bit too. And so we have 11 employees. Our budget's about $725,000. We operate a 2,400 square foot building that's down off 130 Coggins. $25 fee, and then we do have a $600 fee that's done when the transition, when the house sells. We do charge $600, actually 2 fees now, but $600 comes in for that. The rec center, as you can see, right, we got more than 35 employees, I think. I'll have to double check. I think that might be per rec center. I don't know. But they have a $30 million budget, so you can see, and then those are fees that everybody pays annually, and then when they move in. All right, so then SCHOA versus the condo association. How many live in a condo or duplex or Gemini? So you guys have mandatory assessments because of the HOA that you live in. And so there's a difference between SCHOA and the condo association. So we do currently enforce the CCNRs. We currently enforce the CCNRs for single-family homes, and there's about 17,500 single-family homes. And there are 384 condo, patio, Gemini-style properties that all have their own HOA, right? Or there's 384 condo associations. And there's 9,600 units approximately, and they all have their own set of CCNRs. So everyone who lives in Sun City, just for clarity, we all have deed restrictions one way or another. And then, however, when we continue on, you're going to see that SCHOA does a lot of things for the community, whether you live in a condo-style property or a single-family home. And that's why we encourage everyone to be a member of SCHOA. All right, I think we've gotten to a point where you probably already know this, right? That SCHOA is not your typical HOA. So we're not a city, we're an unincorporated community within Maricopa County. We don't have any city government, mayor, or staff. But Maricopa County is responsible for our roads, medians, codes, zoning, and law enforcement. We have a great, the former county supervisor, Clint Hickman, used to say, I'm kind of like your mayor, right? Because in a way that's kind of like he was. And so now Supervisor Debbie Lesko is the supervisor. She has watched over Sun City almost her entire career of being in the legislature, in Congress, and now as a supervisor. And we have a fantastic relationship with her. So, and also you all know it's an age-restricted community. You have to have one person 55 plus living in a property. Nobody under 19 can live there ever. They do have, kids can come and visit for up to 90 days per year, all right? And so we all know that because of our senior overlay, that we don't pay school taxes. So I'm gonna touch back on that in just a couple minutes. So also Sun City is 15 square miles. And I tell you this because when I get to how much our compliance department is working, you're gonna like, wow, you're right, not a typical HOA. We're 15 square miles. We have over 17,000 houses. We have a team of 11 part-time employees, right? 5 in compliance, 5 in marketing, and then myself. So this slide is in here just to remind everybody what I just said, that these are 2 totally different organizations, okay? So compliance with the CC&Rs are mandatory, but like I said, the membership to SCHOA is voluntary. And I said, I'm just reiterating, it's not included in your RCSC assessments, and it's not included in your COA mandatory assessments too. So this is our primary responsibility, is to enforce the single-family home CC&Rs. Also, we're the only organization that will protect your age overlay. So when I was just talking about the fact that, we don't pay taxes, I lived here, this year's gonna be 20 years I've lived in Sun City. I was like, wow, 20 years. But we don't pay school taxes. So when we ask people to become members for $25 to help protect that saves you a lot. That's going to save you a lot more money than school taxes if we were to ever lose that. So we are the organization that protects that. And even though we enforce the CC&Rs for single-family homes, if there is an underage issue in a condo-style property, they can contact us and we will work with them on that. Because unfortunately, when you see the number of cases and stuff we do, we can't enforce all CC&Rs on all 384 condos, but the age overlay is so important to us that we will work with any condo association if they run into that problem. And then we also, this is another thing that affects the entire community, is we watch for legislation that could affect our community. And so we're going to touch base a little bit, probably not a lot, but with our Government Affairs Committee. We, years ago, EPCOR wanted to consolidate us. And this was before I was even with SCHOA, but we ended up taking it all the way to the Arizona Supreme Court to prevent them from consolidating us with other communities of different economic values, the ages of the properties, of the communities, and we were successful to some point, right? But that is something that SCHOA does. We are going to be fighting the APS increase that's coming. And of course, going to try to consolidate us again. We watch for legislation. I mean, next week, the good old legislature is back in session, and we're going to have to be watching bills to make sure that nothing's going to affect us in a detrimental way. So these are the 3 things that we do. The last 2, the bottom 2, are things that affect all of our community. All right, and so we take our responsibility very seriously. We currently have 14 cases, active cases with our attorney, and they vary from condition of property to age issues that people just don't want to move out of the house, even though they know they're not supposed to be there. So we do take our job very seriously, and it's got to reach a pretty serious level of not following our CC&R source and send it to the attorney. But we're getting more and more that we are going to have to send to the attorney. I've got like 6 in my inbox ready to that I need to evaluate and send over to her probably the next week or two. So compliance matters, and I think everyone would agree that it benefits us all. Whether, like, if you had to live across this property, even if you had a condo-style home, right? And because a lot of properties, there's, you got single-family homes in one side of the street, and you got the condo-style properties on the other side. But if you had to look at that every day, I don't think anybody would really want to do that. So I think that's probably more of what they want to look at. So with me mentioning compliance matters, I'm going to hand it over to Christine, who's going to give you an overview of what we've experienced in compliance this year, in 2025. Can people hear me? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple in the front row.
Just one moment, we have some shuffling of people going on.
I forgot to ask. Just
Next again.
it's okay since she asked. It's just a couple.
All right, good morning. So as Lisa said, we are the enforcement of the CCNRs, and last year we had over 4,500 complaints come into our office, which is approximately 18 a day. These are mostly citizen reported. We don't go out actively looking for violations. If the world was perfect, that's what we would do, but we are inundated by residents turning in other people with those violations, and we respond to every single one. Please know when you call in, drop by, or send one in through the computer, it won't get completed the next day. It takes time in doing these things, and I can tell you every single one of us are working the full 27 hours to make sure that our community is in compliance. The most issues that came to us were condition of property. That means weeds, landscapes not maintained, improper storage, disrepair, those type of things. So we had over 1,600 of those. Leases, we started monitoring leases because, like Lisa said, we have to oversee the age overlay, make sure that everybody living in Sun City, at least one is 55 or older. And so we did get a list from Maricopa County, over 1,800 registered rentals here in Sun City of single-family homes. And we have made efforts to reach out to each of those landlords and make sure that we have a tenant registration form proof that whomever they are renting to is at least 55 or older. Of the 1,800, I just checked with the admin, and she's completed 600 of those. So it's very time consuming, but it's very, very important. So as I said, we had over 4,500 new incidents and over 1,100 title inspections. Every time a home changes title, the title company reaches out to us and says, okay, we're ready to close. Can you come out and check? So I send a compliance officer out there, and what they're looking for is make sure that the home is not being sold with any violations. So it's really important, if you're going to put your house up for sale, double check those CCNRs and make sure that you aren't putting something up that does have a violation, because it can cause some havoc right at closing if you have a shed in your backyard and you're not supposed to. So that was an increase from 2024. You can see it is over doubled in 1 year, the amount of incidents that we have taken on without increasing our staff at all. So what we do, we enforce the CCNRs, those things, those deed-restricted CCNRs. That's the only thing that we do when well, it's not the only thing, but that's one of the things that we do. We are not law enforcement. If your neighbor is harassing you, there's not a CCNR that I can refer to help you with that. I wish there was, but there isn't. And if your neighbor built their fence on your property, again, I don't have, or we don't have the authority to negotiate that. That is a civil matter. So one of the things that we do is we have a SIP, which is Community Intervention Program. And we completed the cleaning of 7 properties last year. What that entails is the property must be vacant, and we take months to try to find the owner. And if the owner passed, we try to find next of kin. And if there's a trust and that owner passed and was a trustee, we have to find the trustee that is in place, that isn't probably recorded with the county. This can take a long, long time. We have to exasperate every avenue before we go in. We have to see if it's owned by the bank. Is it in foreclosure? If it's a bank owned, we're not going to be the primary lien holder. So if we clean it, we probably won't get reimbursed for that. But we work with banks and to get those properties cleaned up as much as we can. So one of the great things that we do as a community is the Day of Service. Last year we cleaned 25 properties and we had hundreds of volunteers come out. I am inviting you to join us on Friday, March 27th from 7 to noon to do our next Day of Service. If you want to get together with your friends, your neighborhood, a club, some type of organization, please come and see me in the back and we'll get some information to you about that. This is a wonderful program that people who are income qualified cannot afford to maintain their properties. We go in that day and we clean it up. We have Parks and Sons that donates all the dumpsters. They donated 6 40-yard dumpsters last year and we filled them all up, including some landscaping trucks and trailers. We have landscapers that volunteer all their time. We have real estate agents that do. It's just a huge, huge community involvement activity. One of the things that we also do is we work with Sun City CAN, the Community Assistance Network. They're here in our community to help our seniors that are income qualified as well. And they have a vetting program. And when they go through and they qualify for any additional help, they send that information over to me so that we can reach out to them and see if they need help with their yards, getting them cleaned up. Because we have a ramp program, and that is supported by the SCHOA Foundation. If they qualify, we go in and we clean for no charge for those people. It has to be owner-occupied, income qualified as well. Another thing that we do is Are You Okay? It's a program with Maricopa County that you can set up through the posse, calling them, and they'll set up somebody from Maricopa County Sheriff's Office to call every single day, the same time, to check on you or your loved one. And if you have a doctor's appointment on that day, you just tell them the day before, don't call me, I'm going to be at the doctor. But they do this, and this has been a really significant, good program for our seniors that live by themselves. So if you know somebody or if you're interested in that, I encourage you to look into that program. And Sun City Fire Department, they have had teams that help us with the days of service the last 2 years, and I'm sure they'll be here again this year. But one of the things that they asked us to join them in is this Christmas, identifying 3 families or 3 properties of people that live there that could use some Christmas cheer. They had to be age qualified, and I happen to know a few of them. And so we were able, through their foundation, grant 3 Christmases to seniors that would not have had Christmas at all. Sorry, I get a little emotional. One of our residents, she had a pair of shoes on that had holes throughout them. It was her only pair of shoes. And the foundation, the organization, bought her 2 brand new pairs of shoes, and you would have thought she got $1 million. So it's things like that that are really important that we do here at SCHOA that you may not know about. It takes time, but it is a labor of love. So that's what I have for you today. Next, I'm going to turn it over to Beth, our marketing manager.
Good morning. Oh, that good. Obviously, what our team is focused on is educating, supporting, and one of the main things that we do is we operate the business partner referral program. The whole basis of the program is to help Sun City residents avoid scams and fraud. We're often the target here of scams and fraud, and that's one of the things that we hired Dan to recently help us with. We have all of our businesses. What makes it so important is we vet every single business. We put them through a process where we check references, we check their licenses, we check with the Register of Contractors, the Better Business Bureau. We make sure these companies really are going to take good care of our Sun City residents, and that way our residents know to come to us for a business rather than working with somebody who's trying to go door to door and might not have their best interest in mind. So right now we have about 256 businesses. We're always looking for more. We always listen to residents about the kind of businesses they're looking for to make sure we have that kind of vetted business in our list, and then we'll reach out to businesses and vet good ones and add them to our list. So we're always looking to hear from you, and we always welcome and encourage you to call us if somebody does. If you do want to work with somebody, you can call us and see if they're in our business partner program and have been vetted by us. We also try and educate through a variety of publications. Our monthly newsletter is printed. We have it in paper editions in our office. We hand out hundreds of those a month. And we also have about 5,000–6,000 of those read electronically every month. So this is a great way to get a lot of updates from our compliance department about events coming up. We have free workshops that are hosted by our business partners, and a lot of community updates and information as well. One thing we're hoping that most of you, well, who here got a community resource guide in the mail recently? So hopefully you all should be getting one. We've sent them out to every single home in Sun City. If you don't get one, we do have additional ones in our office. These are guides that are really the only kind of publication that is printed in Sun City that includes all the information to really help you navigate our unique community. It has all the information about SCHOA and Sun City, has our CC&Rs, and it has a lot of our vetted businesses as well as important contacts information. And this is what it looks like, the new guide. We've been printing those for a while. We also have printed a Sun City map. A lot of people say they like GPS, but once you live here in Sun City, you realize with the circles and all the interesting directions you might find on GPS, the map really comes in useful, and it also has a lot of great information. We have some maps in the back as well, and we always give those out for free for new memberships and renewals as well. And then we have some other things. I don't know if you recently saw, we honored a couple amazing residents as hometown heroes. We like to honor and recognize residents who really spend a lot of their time. As you know, Sun City is a city of volunteers, and we have a lot of residents who really give up a lot of their time and energy to really care for Sun City. So you can actually go online and nominate somebody on our website. And then one great way to welcome somebody to Sun City or to gift a neighbor who maybe could use some access to the business partner referral program and do some work on their home. We sell $25 gift certificates, which is basically a membership to SCHOA. And then our merch shop, you probably saw as you were walking in, we do have a merch shop online. We're really the only place you can get really unique Sun City retro unique merchandise, from pillows to shirts to clocks to stickers, all types of merchandise. And we'll be raffling off a few of those when we finish up here, but we also encourage you to take one of the flyers and check it out yourself. They make great gifts as well. And I will turn it back to Lisa.
All right. So hopefully with that those two presentations, you see that we really care about the community. I love what Christine said, it's a labor of love, and I think it is. Everybody, I'm pretty sure now everybody lives in Sun City. Oh, except for Beth. But as soon as she turns 55, she's in. So yeah, our entire staff currently lives in Sun City. They live, work, play. So I think there's just a nice commitment to our community through all of the staff. So A couple things that I don't know if you're aware of. SCHOA has certain committees that meet throughout the year, and we're going to just touch on those because these are ways too that the community can get involved with us. We have an Articles of Bylaw Committee, and Greg Bradley, our Vice President, is the chair of that. We have an Elections Committee where Sandy Crawford is now the chairman of that. Government Affairs, Alan Lenevsky is the chair of that committee, and then we have a Roads and Safety Committee, and we're going to talk about each one of these a little bit. Greg Bradley is also the chair, the new chair to that committee. So our Election Committee is what you would assume that it would be, right? They oversee our elections. SCHOA members is another reason why you want to be a member of SCHOA is because you can vote and you can run for office. Our elections take place in November, and in 2026, in November 2026, we'll have 3 openings. So if you decide that you might want to be interested in possibly running for our board, you can start attending our meetings and things like that. Get to know us. Government Affairs. So as I said earlier, we're the primary advocate for Sun City with anything, legislation, utility rates. And this year we're going to be fighting the APS increase. Alan's already been meeting with people and getting a game plan together. Also, FCOR is going to be another issue this year, and Alan's already working on that. And as I said earlier, we're going to be watching legislation. I've already been talking to our state senator, about some issues that I think could be some problems, or that are some issues in Sun City. And so we connect with, we have good relationships with all of our legislators, all of our elected officials. Roads and Safety. This has been a committee since the early 2000s. And Pam Schwartz ran this, well, I think she was the second person, but she ran for many years, and she just recently went off the board, so Greg is now the chair of that. But we advocate for issues with our roads with Maricopa County. So every third Wednesday of each month at 10 a.m., we have a meeting. This group does not meet in June, July, or August, but they have different representation there from like McDOT, Maricopa County Department of Transportation, the posse, the sheriff's office usually has a representation there, the fire department, Arizona Department of Transportation is there. And so community members can come in and say, hey, there's a problem here. Can you look at this? Can we add a traffic light here? Can we move this stop sign? Whatever the issue is that has to do with transportation, that is a great committee to express your views. The biggest concern that I've noticed over the last couple of years is always kind of the same thing. Generally, right? The top issue is speeding, right? Speeding down Sunset Boulevard, Peoria Avenue, but then recently at the last meeting, somebody came out and said, yeah, they're watching it. I think it was a posse. They're watching it at the sheriff's office. And the majority of the speeders are Sun City residents. Right? So we need to pass the word that please stop speeding on our streets. But anyway, it's a great place. It's open to the public. It's open to Sun City residents. So if something comes up on your radar about traffic, anything like that, contact them. I will tell you that I think it was last weekend, I took pictures of 2 street signs that looked like they were melting, what I'm talking about, right? And I sent that over to McDOT. I got a response within 24 hours saying that they put it on their list to print new signs. So they're doing a great job, and they're working with us, and so. All right, so overview of 2025. This is what SCHOA, this is not all of what SCHOA did. I wouldn't want you to be here for 2 weeks learning about all what SCHOA did, but here are our highlights. So one of the things that we are doing now, SCHOA for years has had a new resident orientation. And generally it was once a year, and it was held at a golf club. And it was just a new resident orientation for people to come and understand our community, right? And so early last year, I think it was, the vice president of the rec center reached out to me and was talking about resident orientation. And I was like, well, why don't we team up and why don't we do this together instead of SCHOA doing it and then you guys doing something. So we created this Sun City Orientation for Sun City residents, and it's hosted by SCHOA, COA, and the Rec Center. Because we really are the three primary organizations that people move into, right? The Rec Center, everyone is affected with the Rec Center. They're all members. SCHOA is single-family homes, and then COA is the condo association. And then at this meeting, we also have all of our volunteer organizations there. The Posse, Sunshine Service, the Lions Club, just the different foundations. They're all there because this has been a community of volunteers, right? So we run our community on volunteers instead of city government. So this is a great place for you guys to come, hear what everybody does, meet with people that are there if you want to volunteer. So March 6th, 9 to noon at Sundial, and we'll be promoting it like crazy. But just so you know, we started that last year. We had 2 of them. We've had hundreds of people attend. We're working with the Rec Center and us. When people come in and they're brand new, giving them an invite immediately so that they can learn about our community and the uniqueness as soon as possible. Some people attend this and they're like, I've lived here for 10 years and I didn't know this stuff. So that's what we want to do. We want to educate. The Ukulele Club held a fundraiser for us, and it was fantastic. I think there were like over 500 people there. They wanted to help increase our membership, and our membership did increase. I want to say by like 150 members. So it was very sweet of a community group to host that for us. For about the last 17 years, minus the COVID years, SCHOA has held a senior expo. And so we call ours now the Lifestyle Senior Expo. We only allow vetted business partners to purchase tables at that. Because once again, we want to protect our community. We want to make sure that if they're getting information from a business, that we know that that business has been vetted. Okay? And that's usually held like in November, October, November. Every year for the last 3-4 years, we've held an electronic recycling event. This year will probably be in March, where we just, the company comes out, they're in Bell Rec Center parking lot. People just drive through and drop off their old electronic equipment. And it's at no cost to our community. We hold legislative update forums. Again, this is part of our government affairs outreach, where we team up with SCHOA or FORA. FORA is similar to us in Sun City West, and we share a lot of the representatives. We will have this during session where we invite our elected officials out. They give us an update on what's going on at the legislature, and so they can all they can have their ear to us, right? So they know what we want them to do. The last couple of years, we held a safety and fraud town hall. We teamed up with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. This year, we had one, I want to say it was like around September. We had probably like 400 plus people there. And the feedback that we got from that was phenomenal. They were like, can we please have this again? Can we please have? Because we are a targeted community for fraud and scams. And we really want to try to make sure that again, this is like an act of love, a labor of love, right? We want our community to be safe. We don't want to see people being taken advantage of. So we will have another one of these in 2026. The day of service, as Christine said, that is we just started last year. Did 2 of them. Christine wants to do like about 5 a year, but I think now it's like, 2 is good. Let's do 1 a year, because it's a lot of work. The first one we did, we had about 100 volunteers. The second one we did, we had over 200 volunteers show up from the community. So hopefully in March, we'll have 300 volunteers or more. So also, SCHOA led the charge on this Maricopa County Framework 2040. They go out and they ask for ideas as they're doing their strategic plan for in the future. And so we led the charge on that by getting that information out to the public, posting things, asking people for feedback, and then we tallied all that stuff, and then we shared our list, even though it was on Maricopa County. We shared our data, our input with our county supervisor and said, these are the issues that are important that our community has come out and said that they would like to have something looked at. And one of the things that Maricopa County said is that some things are legislative fixes, so that's not going to go into their planning, but that every department within Maricopa County was going to be looking at those lists. So maybe it wasn't going to be under their planning for like ordinances or long-term planning, but maybe it was something that another department could handle. So that's all still under evaluation, but SCHOA took the lead on that. We started a Merry Bright Christmas light contest. Did anybody go look at lights this year? Yeah, so it's pretty fantastic. It's been a great community building event. People are like, they come in, they're like, this was the best part of my Christmas last year, is to go look at lights. So it's really fantastic. It's really a fantastic event, and this was our second year doing it. First year we had 50 participants, and this year we have 52. So we're growing, right? All right, and so as Beth shared, this was mailed to every single home in Sun City. And there are some on the back table. If you didn't get one, you want to get one, or you want to pick up an extra one, it's a phenomenal resource. And so that's something that SCHOA did for our community. Also, just so you know, again, the labor of love issue, like scam alerts. We got the president came in and he got a letter in the mail, and it looked very scammy. So he shared it with me, and it was a company or an organization trying to raise funds for a law enforcement local group. Well, our law enforcement is Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, right? So I sent that over to the fraud guy who participated in our fraud and scam town hall. He's like, yeah, it's a scam. And so he actually wrote up what I could send to the community. And so we were able to turn that around in 24 hours. Let the community know, hey, if you get this mail, disregard it because it's a scam. You do not want to give your money to them. So we're on the lookout for that all the time. We had somebody contact us about a door-to-door business, and the name that they were using was not a name like on our website for our business partner. So they were concerned about this. And to make a long story short, we did some research, and the company was a vetted business partner, but they were using a different name within their LLC, their legal name, but it wasn't in our database. So we fixed that. So, we're on the lookout for scams, because I told you before, our community is target for this. And then we also implemented a SCHOA emergency contact form. And we did this because it was unfortunate that a woman, a home property owner, we had reached out to the property because it was out of compliance, and we never got a response. And people come and go, so we didn't know, but we had reached out. So to make a long story short, the family finally, I guess it was 6 months later, we couldn't even get a hold of the family when we were trying to contact somebody. But 6 months later, the family tried to reach out to the woman and ended up doing a welfare check with the posse, and she was deceased in her home. And so that made, Christine was like, we need to do something to, at least try to have emergency contact information, right? And so that's why we created a contact emergency form. And we sent that out. We've got a lot of responses, so we're hopefully keeping that kind of information. We are keeping that kind of information. The thing is that it's unfortunate that there are a lot of people in our community that they're not part of our email list, right? They don't have computers, they don't have internet, they don't have email addresses. So how do you communicate with all those folks, So we created that out of that incident, that issue. We're always looking at ways that we can serve the community better. All right, and so this to me is really, I want you guys to hopefully walk away going, wow, that is so fantastic. So I call it community unity because this year there's been more collaboration between all of our organizations than I've ever seen in the 20 years I've worked here. We, once a month, the leaders of these organizations have a leadership coalition meeting where we get together and we discuss anything that's going on within our own areas, how can we support each other. It's phenomenal. And I think in the past, everyone was doing their own thing. They're on their own track, right? And so you don't serve the community as well like that as you do as a group. So this is one of my very proud things that we have done is really building those relationships with the other groups, the other community groups, the other organizations that serve all of us. They serve our community. This is like our city government right here, right? All right, so overview, 2025, we had 4,510 incidents, which is huge. We had 3,690, these are approximate, but we track things, but we couldn't miss or whatever. 3,690 walk-ins to our office, 3,786 phone calls, and then of course you saw a lot of the events that we hosted, community outreach that we're doing, and we also did various speaking engagements where, we were invited to Garden Club, so we were able to present there. The Lifelong Learning Club, they invited us to speak, and there's been a couple other ones. Next Gen, they invited us to speak, to educate people. So we're also doing those kind of things as well. Again, it's really just about educating our community. All right, so for 2026, our goals, because of the kind of organization that we are, our goals really don't change much. So just so because some of this like community stuff, we didn't even have it on the board last year, right? It just kind of came up. The day of service started because I think people think like we go out and we want to write people up because they got weeds in their yard. Well, can I tell you that our compliance team does not want to write, they do not want to write a letter about weeds. But in the CCNRs, it says that your yard needs to be in a weed-free manner, right? It needs to be kept that way. So when we write a letter about that, have people on social media that'll say, I can't believe that they're spending time sending me a letter, I got weeds in my yard, when so-and-so down the street's got blah, 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 right? And so we start talking about it, and I'm like, you know what? Let's see if they're going to put their money where their mouth is, right? So maybe we should do some kind of outreach to people that, might need help, or see if people will volunteer to help. Because on social media, you'll hear them say, well, if I knew somebody needed help, I would help them. Okay, well, let's see, right? So Christine came up with this day of service. She's been the mastermind behind it. She plans it, she organizes it. And the first go around, we had 100 people, plus all the organizations that you saw up there, right? They all participated. And then as word got out more and more promotion, the next time was 200, like I said earlier. So that wasn't even on our radar last year when we were presenting goals, right? So who knows what we're going to be presenting at the end of 2026, right? All right, but overall, our goals are to enforce the CCNRs. That's what we're here for. That is the sole mission of our organization's #1 priority, and increase our membership numbers and to continue educating our community. I don't think that those three goals are ever going to change. Our finances, we're going to continue to monitor our budget, and we'll adjust it as needed. Like I told you earlier, we have a $725,000 budget that the board has approved. We'll continue to review revenue streams because $25 a month for, you're going to see how many members we have, that's not going to support us. It's just not. We've got to have other revenue streams. And what I've shared with you today, with the Expo, with the business partner program, those are two revenue income streams for us. So we've got to be creative. The Sun City Map, the community resource guides, those are revenue streams for us. Because $25, the title fee that we do when we go out to make sure that the property is in compliance before it sells, and somebody doesn't inherit a mess, that's a revenue stream for us. So just so you know that we're going to continue to monitor that, and then also we're going to work to grow memberships. Compliance, we're always reevaluating things. We are always reevaluating things, and we will continue to do that. What worked in the past doesn't mean it's going to work in the future. In the past, to be really transparent and honest, we didn't do a good job at identifying rentals, right? So that's been something that we've done, we've plowed into this year, and we'll continue doing that. We've set up proper protocols now that when a house is rented, we want to know who's living in the property. So that's why, Christine was saying, we started with 1,800 properties from Maricopa County. We're working through all those 1,800. And then when a property goes to sell, we've always done this. We've asked, is this going to be a rental property? But we're getting all those kind of registration forms on hand, so we know who's living in the properties. So again, that's the thing that we will continue to look at and evaluate and move and change if needed. We're going to continue to administer the RAMP and SIP program. We're going to talk about the RAMP in just a minute. Christine mentioned that. We do with the SIP the program that she talked about, we do budget about $10,000 a year for that, right? And so Christine does a due diligence to find that person if that owns that property. And when the decision's made to clean it, we will clean it and we will lien it, right? But just so you know, we don't always recoup our costs on that either, because it depends on what happens with the title change on that property. But SCHOA does budget to maintain, these properties. That's another reason why she has to be very wise in what we go out to clean, because we only have a limited amount of funds. And then also we're just going to continue to apply the CC&R values to the best of our ability. Business partner program, we're just going to continue, we're going to focus on growing the program, just continuing to grow it. People are like knocking at the door, they keep hearing good things about it, they're knocking on the door asking if they can become business partners. So that's a real positive thing. We have a good reputation. And we're going to focus on local businesses, which we do now anyway. Government affairs, we're going to continue to monitor legislation and the utility rates I told you earlier. We have some big fights on our hands coming up, and we'll be communicating with the community about that and how you guys can play a part in it. So if you're not getting our emails, I encourage you to go to our website. You can sign up for emails there, or you can also contact our office and we'll add you to the email list. Okay? And we're going to continue to advocate for the best outcome of the community. Roads and safety, really the same thing. Continue to build relationships with those agencies, continue to provide member forums. Like I said, you're welcome to attend every month except June, July, and August. And then we're going to prioritize and advocate for changes needed by members. Again, kind of just repeating the same thing, but increase the membership, that's going to be a goal. We're going to continue to hopefully visit groups, educate, do events. So our current membership, this was as of yesterday, the final number that I pulled before this meeting, 4,961. If you notice that our, we have, I said earlier, about 27,000 properties, right? So only about 17% of our community are actual paid members. And also, if you remember the number that Christine shared, over 4,500 incidents were reported. So I think there's a lot of people that are reporting incidents that aren't even members. And we will take complaints with anybody. But again, I'm hoping that people will see the value of what $25 helps with, right? So 4,961 members. We just continue to hold steady. Seems like we just can't stay at 5,000 and over. I don't know why, but we're trying everything. It's not without a lack of effort. And so again, 17% are actual. However, 100% benefit from the age overlay that SCHOA protects. So in my mind, every property owner needs to help protect that as well with $25 a year. All right, so that's it, $25. My little, was it like Batman? Bam, wham, wham. All right. Okay, so just so you guys know, in case you didn't know, does everyone know that we have a SCHOA Foundation? Yeah? So the SCHOA Foundation, they were actually voted the best foundation by the West Valley in their recent West Valley favorites that they just started promoting yesterday. So, and our day of service actually was recognized in this with the West Valley favorites as well. All right, so the foundation is a 501c3, funded only by donations. They are tax deductible. They also are a qualified charitable organization, and so known as a QCO. And so if you don't know what that is, Arizona allows you to apply dollar for dollar credit towards your state taxes when you donate to a qualified charitable organization, up to $495, single or married filing separate or head of household, $987 married filing joint. This allows taxpayers to direct tax dollars to charities whose services they believe provide the most value to their local communities, rather than going directly to the state for distribution to other services. So if you're not aware of that, I really highly encourage you to look into that, because there are other organizations in Sun City that you can donate to through this process. Of course, I want you to donate to the foundation, and we're going to talk about why. But the other two organizations is Sun City Can. They're an organization that you can donate your tax dollars to, and also Meals on Wheels. So we are the only three organizations within our community unity group that I would recommend. Again, that money stays inside Sun City, doesn't go to the state, it goes to your community. So currently what the foundation does is we paint the walls, right? So there are over 30 miles of walls, there are over 30 miles of walls in Sun City, which about 17 walls are painted. So when Delta built this community and put up all these walls, nobody got responsible. Nobody was tagged to be responsible for the walls. So when the SCHOA Foundation started, they were like, well, let's take that on. So about, I want to say 8 years ago, 10 years ago almost, they raised money and they went out and they painted all the walls. So that looks like we're going to be doing that probably every so many years. I think we're going to talk about that. Approximately every 10 years. So that's coming up. So that's one thing that they do, is they raise money to do that. I mean, could you imagine driving in our community and seeing graffiti, or graffiti covered in different color paintings and things like that? So they take care of the wall painting. Now, if a car slams into your wall, you're responsible. If you have a brick, if your backyard or whatever has the yard next to that wall is on your property. So if somebody crashes into that, your insurance company or you have to take care of getting that fixed. And getting it painted at that time. But we have the color that we can tell you so that it matches. And then also the ramp, the resident assistance maintenance program. Christine mentioned that, and we'll talk about a little bit more on that. But again, they're over 30 miles of wall, 17 are common walls. They were accidentally overlooked, and so the foundation paints the walls approximately every 10 years. And then ramp, which she's sharing, that we assist residents with financial limitations to help maintain community standards. It's funded through the foundation, and last year we cleaned up 4 properties through this program. However, with that said, we cleaned 25 properties with the day of service. If we would not have had the day of service, many of those properties would have qualified for ramp, and that would have continued to drain the ramp funds. So now we still have enough nice, healthy amount in the ramp for things that are outside of when we do the day of service. And now we're only going to do day of service one time, so we might just do 12, but we may need to do 12 more later in the year. So, summary, I think we're entering into 2026 with a strong board, definitely a dedicated staff, fiscally sound budget, and we have goals. I encourage you, as if you're a member of SCHOA, you can attend monthly board meetings. We meet on the 4th Tuesday of every month, with the exception of July and August, and we meet at 9 a.m. on Tuesday mornings. So you can stop when we meet at the SCHOA office, which is down on 103rd Commons. And then also to join a committee. We have an election committee, government affairs, and roads and safety. If that's something that you're interested in, just talk to the chairman of those committees, and they can get you help. They can answer any questions for you. Our website has a lot of information on it. So I encourage you to go on, take a look at it. Also, that's where you can sign up to have emails sent to you. And also, we post all of our events and put a calendar on there so you can look and see what's going on. And then if you're on Facebook, I encourage you to follow us on Facebook because that's another way of communicating with people, letting them know if a scam happens. You know, with anything, we share CCR issues on that too, like, you know, whatever the big issue. Well, weekly it's always something different, but anyway, if you're on Facebook, it'd be great if you joined us. And then with that, we're going to wrap this up with some door prizes. Beth, do you want to be the presenter? Do you want to present the door prizes? You want me to? Yeah, you can. Yeah. Oh. Well, the first prize we're going to give out is a two-night stay at the Aquarius Casino Resort in Laughlin. Has anybody been there?
Yes.
Yeah? Is it a nice place?
Yes.
All right. Who wants to win it? Everybody. All right. Well, let's see. Here's the winner of this one. 348732. Ah, there you go. Congratulations. All right, so then the next one is the museum. Is Linda still here? Linda, yeah, Linda from the museum is here. We're going to give away a Jubilee, isn't it a 50th anniversary? Is that right, 50th? 50th?
It's the 25th.
Oh, 25th. A 25th Jubilee book, and then also a membership to
There's
the...
2 tickets for free admission to the museum.
Okay, so 2 tickets for free admission to the museum, and this fantastic Jubilee book that has a ton of history about Sun City in it. And I have one of these books. So. All right, the winner is 348696. Winner, look at you! Oh, here you go. There you go. Yeah, so you guys should think about this. This is a really nice book. You bet. All right. And then a couple things from our merch shop. We talked about our merch shop. The first one is going to be this fun t-shirt. And I ordered a large, so hopefully I'll fit everybody. Oh, it's an extra large. All right, but this is really fun. You're living the dream in Sun City, right? We're all living the dream, right? That's it. 348752. If you want to meet the winners afterwards and take pictures of them?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. No, I mean, you can do that, but I'm just going to, that's the thing. All right, the next thing is fantastical toast. Sun City, Arizona, established in 1960. So you can take this to the gym, to your clubs, make them all jealous. 348689. There you go. Congratulations. And the next is this fantastic hat. I actually have one of these. And 348672. There you go. All right, well, thank you everybody for attending. I really appreciate it. We all appreciate it. Make sure you stop back by and you can meet the staff. you have any questions about compliance or marketing, they're there to answer those for you. Our board's available if you have any questions with them. You can always contact our office when things come up. So, again, thanks so much for coming.